Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is January the 29th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. It was a good hump day. It was solid. Work was fine. No complaints. Let's see. Let's just go right to the gym. I would say that's where I had any and all friction. But overall, gotta say it was a good gym session. But I had like a pretty big failure, which felt very bad. Because I've talked about it before. Like I don't handle any kind of failure in the gym well. It just bugs me. I'm sure this is a very common feeling, emotion. You just feel like a dummy. You just feel like you just want to like just curb stomp a plate. Like I don't know, or get curb stomped by a plate. I don't know. It just feels so bad. But I was trying to do the delts, which I've said before is kind of one of my one of my favorite machines, but it's one I struggle with when I'm trying to like really max out. And I came in with the idea of like, I don't know, today I just want to hit some PRs. I want to listen to Bring Me the Horizon and like hit some fucking weights. That's what I wanted to do. So a couple of machines goes well. I get to the delt, or I get to the pec. Overall, I've done a full stack on that before. Great, love that. I go to do a full stack and I was able to do my right arm on the delt. I was like, yeah, we got it. We're going to do it. And I just go to hit it and just no motion. It won't, like nothing. And then I try to like bump it back down, like, 20 pounds, or so, like a couple of stacks back. Nothing. Can't move it. I had to like go all the way back to like below 100 to kind of get terra firma. So I was just really just upset. I tried to go back to the machine, like I want to say 5-10 minutes later, still can't do it. So my pride was pretty hurt, but I kind of kicked my own ass about it. Gym wise, did some extra cardio. Overall though, it was good. Like I'm happy with how the gym session went. It's just like I know tomorrow I'm gonna sit down on that machine and be scared, and I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling. But overall, we move. Every day can be a lesson, and sometimes you need to be humbled. And that's what it is, right? I guess I don't know. So yeah, overall though, today was good. Let's talk food corner real quick. I had some pasta. It's a classic thing. I'd say the only difference was since I didn't have any bagels, had to improvise and use 2 pieces of wheat bread. That's fine. Not a terrible improvisation. That's the word I'm looking for. Sure. So yeah, we'll cut the blog there. Yet again, this is another very much Trump verse charged episode. Unfortunately, I can remember in the past like having moments like this where I just felt like I could not escape this man, and we're right back in the thick of it. Everybody knows, so it just is what it is. That being said, the episode is going to be split about the same way. So if you just want to hear kind of episode part 1, then that'll be set up the way that it is, and then we'll kind of just ram right into some Trump shit. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and get into it. And trust me, if you're hating this shit, I do too. It definitely loses its luster after a few days of this like dystopian fucking bullshit that you just have to look at and then talk about again and again. But it is what it is. It's a part of the bag. I know the deal. Y'all do too, my dear listeners. And it's okay. I get it. I get some of my friends who take breaks from me because at the end of the day, it's like I am doing news. And news is most times, it's very depressing, right? So I completely get it. I completely get my skippers. I completely get my lurkers, my clickers who just want to hear me talk about some bloggy food, what happened with my day shit, and they dip. I'm okay with that. I do not hate you. I don't look at the analytics that deep anyway, so don't worry. But, if you're ready for the ride, let's go ahead and do the startup. Oh, yeah. First beer of the day. You'll love to see it. Oh, I will actually wait. I got a little bit more food corner. Wednesday, it was a treat day at work. And gotta say, boo treat, L treat. They had a spread of baked goods, but you could only take like one item. So it's like a slice of marble like bread, um, a cookie assortment that you can only take one of each cookie. Like you can only take one cookie. Um, there was like maybe like a little cupcakey thingies or whatever. I don't know. It was like a whole table full of shit, but you only take like one thing. So I get the one oatmeal raisin cookie, and maybe y'all are gonna flame me for that. Oh, are you an old man? Yes, I'm an old geriatric piece of shit, and I love oatmeal raisin cookies. Um, that being said, how you gonna eat just one cookie and think that it's gonna be satisfying? At least give me two. Especially at that size, it was like I don't know, like almost the size of maybe a big medallion, but not nothing crazy. It's not a big cookie. It's not Jimmy John size even. Okay, so there we go to give you some scale. Overall, the cookie was fine. It wasn't great, and I was like, wow, this is a weak ass cookie. This is an L treat. But I gobbled it. I devoured. Anyway, let's get to the news. From CNN, Baltic undersea cable likely damaged by external force, Latvia says. An undersea fiber optic cable between Latvia and Sweden was damaged on Sunday, likely as a result of external influence, Latvia said, triggering an investigation by local and NATO maritime forces in the Baltic Sea. Excuse me. We have determined that there is most likely external damage and that it is significant. Latvian Prime Minister Ivica Salina told reporters following an extraordinary government meeting. Latvia is coordinating with NATO and the countries of the Baltic Sea region to clarify the circumstances, she said separately in a post on X. Let's see here. I believe the carrier in question was the Malta-flagged bulk carrier Veshin. It was closely followed by a Swedish Coast Guard vessel on Sunday evening, maritime traffic data showed, and the two were heading in toward the southern Swedish coastline. It is not immediately clear if the Veshin, which passed the fiber optic cable at 0045 GMT on Sunday, was subject to investigation. But I'm pretty sure that was the ship that they think did it, though they don't know if it was intentional, if this is one of the Russian phantom fleets or whatever the fuck that they've accused other ships of cable cutting before. You know what I mean? So I don't really have too many details outside of the fact that they know it's like, hey, it was most likely this one that did it, but they're cooperating. Sweden is cooperating. The ship's cooperating. So we'll keep you posted type of beat. That being said, it is an important cable, but we've talked about this before. Like, yes, you can say, oh, well, maybe this is like, some underhanded intentional shit. But this also happens sometimes when a ship can drag an anchor and they can wind up doing the shit on accident. And it's like, oopsie, our bad. But these are some things that happen. But sometimes it turns into a whole political row because people are like, oh, no, you're trying to do some shit. You're trying to do some shady shit. You're trying to do some shady shit for Russia? What's up? What are you doing? What's going on? So I didn't want to let this story pass me by. I feel like, I got the story like Monday, and I know it's like only Wednesday, but I probably saw it maybe Sunday night, right? But it just felt like I was not going to get a chance to actually cover it. So I'm like, let me go ahead and get this in right now. Let me just cover it at the top. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. And y'all already know, I'll keep you posted if I hear anything more. But this most likely is just going to end in some kind of vague, maybe they did it, maybe they did. Was it intentional? We don't know. It's most likely that shit. Moving on from ABC News, 30 dead in stampede as over 100 million people gather at India's Maha Kumbh, I'm totally going to get a lot of things mispronounced here, Kumbh festival. So, mea culpa in advance. At least 30 people were killed and dozens have been injured in a stampede at the Maha Kumbh Mela, one of the world's biggest gatherings, authorities said. The Maha Kumbh Mela takes place every 12 years in the Indian city of Prayagraj, about 90 miles west of the holy city of Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh, when an estimated 100 million people gather to bathe in holy waters at the confluence of the Ganges, the Yamuna, and Saraswati rivers. It is considered one of the most auspicious and holy dates on the Hindu calendar. So this is a big deal. A lot of people come out in a very populated country. I feel like very is not even a big enough word there. The stampede began in the early hours Wednesday morning, according to the Indian officials. The death toll and numbers of those injured are expected to rise. It was not immediately clear what triggered the panic at the festival, but Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called the incident extremely sad and extended his condolences to those affected. Let's see here. Scroll ahead a bit. Authorities are expecting more than 100 million people to visit Prayagraj for the Maha Kumbh Mela, meaning the festival of the sacred pitcher, on Wednesday for the Holy Dip. It is regarded as a significant auspicious day for Hindus due to the rare alignment of the celestial bodies after 144 years. Authorities have a gigantic tent on the banks of the rivers to accommodate the millions of pilgrims and tourists attending the festival, equipped with 3,000 kitchens, 150,000 toilets, roads, electricity, water, communication towers, and 11 hospitals. 11 hospitals. Like, what a tent. What a fucking big tent. And this is according to the Associated Press. Also, it's worth noting, too, that an estimated 50,000 security personnel are stationed in the city to help keep the peace. But that being said, with all the numbers of people coming to this event, you can understand how this can get out of hand very easily. Obviously, we don't have the exact details on what caused this, what started the crush, but we've seen this happen in smaller gatherings. So this does not surprise me in the least that it happens here. It's just obviously very sad and unfortunate whenever it happens. So, I wanted to talk about that before we got into the whole Trump melee. But yeah, there's another update. Actually, there's an update, I should say. This is the first update of the day. But we got to talk about our guy, Bob Menendez. We got a verdict. Oh boy, it didn't look too good for Bob. It didn't look good for Bobby, and it looks like him and his gold bars. They're going up. They're going uptown. They're going upstate. Well, I don't know what they said. He's going to the jail. He's going to the slammer. Anyway, from NBC News. Former Senator Bob Menendez sentenced to 11 years in prison in gold bar bribery case. A judge sentenced an emotional former Senator Bob Menendez to 11 years in prison Wednesday for a years-long bribery and corruption scheme that rewarded him with gold bars and stacks of cash, some of which he tried to literally hide in suit pockets in his closet. Like, he was just, according to him, he was just doing it according to his culture. It was on him. I believe he said it's because I'm Cuban that I did this. It's like, brother, no, it's because you're bad at it. Like, is it because you're Cuban that you Googled where to hide gold and shit? Like, no, man. Like, you got all this Google fucking history about what to do with gold. Why, brother? You're a senator. You're supposed to be doing foreign affairs and shit. What? Like, no, this isn't on some Cuban heritage. I think you're just corrupt. But anyway, we did get a verdict here. It's a big one. I believe he's 71 years old. So, that's a long time for a dude of that age. Like, I don't want to say it's a life sentence. I mean, shit, you could be on some Joe Biden shit and you'll be fine. You can tank this. It's just a little malarkey to you. But I mean, to me, if you're in your 70s and you got over a decade to go to the pen, it's over for me, bro. Now, granted, they're going to extend the delay on when he's going to go into his sentence because Nadine Menendez, his wife, she has cancer, I believe. She was undergoing cancer treatment or is. So there was a longer delay in her trial period. The other accomplices involved have also more or less been charged, I believe. I think we're waiting for the sentences of one of them in the future this year. I really don't even want to get into the names. I'd rather just riff through this because we like I said, we're technically only halfway through. It is what it is. Menendez has been ardent that he is not to blame here. He has tried to get a pardon from Biden, which he did not get. He has been trying to vie from a pardon from Trump, which he is probably not going to fucking get, considering he tried to convict Trump. And now he's saying, no, actually, when you look at it, this is corrupt. I'm going through a corrupt trial. This is all politically motivated. Rah, 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 rah. Trump should actually totally understand me, bro. It's like, no, man, no one's coming to save you, Bobby. It's over for you. It's Jover for you, bro. You were going to go to jail. And actually not with your gold bars. You're not taking him with him. Unless you've maybe had him in, like, there's one space, maybe Menendez does have them. And no one knows until he gets to squatting and coughing. We don't know. Maybe there's like one. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm trying to make light where I can. You know what I mean? But let's see here. Somewhere along, I'm gonna read from the judge, which I don't even give a fuck about his name. This doesn't matter. Somewhere along the way, you became, I'm sorry to say, a corrupt politician. Stein. That's the last name of the dude. Stein told him before he handed down the sentence. He also entered a forfeiture order for all of Menendez's ill-gotten gains, which totaled to $992,188.10. So yeah, I mean, they got him. Judge Sidney Stein. There you go. But yeah, I mean, this kind of wraps it up. I imagine we'll come back to the story to talk about Nadine. We'll see what sentence she gets, but it is what it is. Now, I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday. I'm going to take a little midway little break, so feel free to take one with me. I know this isn't the norm, but we're doing big episodes. We're doing big time shit right now. We're pushing weight. Oh, man. I'll tell y'all a quick little side since we're in the interlude and gearing up to talk about Trump. I really hate, because I inevitably I'm very, very much on social media. I refuse to leave, despite the fact that the cesspool just gets worse and worse. But like, mainly because I love the attention. Let's just be real. But also, I love the you get to see how people view shit. They really will turn themselves inside out for free. Yeah, it always surprises me that I always feel like, yep, I got rid of anyone in my profile or my pages that are really big Trumpers or whatever, right? Like, we're good. It's now I just have to deal with, like, the sweaty, campy leftists or whatever, who it's like, I can agree with you, but why are you, like, trying to incite violence, like, from a fucking, cell phone, like, from your little smartphone while you do your little bullshit? Like, come on, man, you're not doing anything. You're just upset. We're all upset. But, like, work on your delivery, please. Make this funny, at least. Just make it funny. I think that I really appreciate that. Make it informative, make it funny. Don't do a whole fucking long twit longer thing or write me a whole essay about how we need to do the right thing and how which is what are you gonna do anyway? I'm in the weeds here. But it's crazy though when people will pop up trying to defend some of these orders that Trump has just been shoving out. It's wild to me, just the cope. But hey, it is what it is. This is a free app, and you're gonna get on here and you're gonna yap it up about it. And speaking of Zuckerberg, we'll get to him actually in this episode. But anyway, let's start with some confirmation hearing bullshit. I won't be dwelling too long on it, but we got to talk about RFK a little bit because he had his little confirmation hearing today from ABC News. Democrat, and this is like a live ticker thing or whatever. We're not hitting it that hard. I'm really just going to hit the riff, and then we're going to fucking hit the rift, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Democrats hammer RFK Jr. on vaccine comments, abortion. They ran him through in terms of the Democratic side of the Senate. Sure. But at the end of the day, Republicans showed strong support. There was no knockback. So yeah, do I think RFK is a piece of shit? Yes. He is literally a fearmonger who, if he's not making money off his fucking name, he's making money off the fact that he's trying to scare you about whatever the fuck is happening around you, whatever the fuck you're taking into your body. And sure, sometimes he's on the money when we're talking about, like, what the food, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, allows to be, fed to us with the dyes and all that shit. We've had that conversation before. Sure. Am I a weird sometimes dye defender because I like these toxic Fruit Loops or whatever? Actually, I hate Fruit Loops, but I do love me some red dye number 3. Okay. Sorry about it. But, that being said, he is trying to make you really feel scared and say, hey, you're just not informed enough. If you do the research, you'd feel my way about it. And like, we just need to do more research on this and that and the third. And there's been so many times where he's just gone off the rails, whether it's on a Joe Rogan podcast, whether it's in some weird interview somewhere or what have you, where he's just saying whatever the fuck he wants to. And essentially, he knows that he's not going to actually go through any of this bullshit. He's fine. He's well secured. He's a Kennedy. At the end of the day, you're scared now, but you're going to keep following him around saying, man, this is like one of the few woke, or not even woke. They don't use that word. Oh, I'm sorry. This is one of the real, like, guys who's out of the matrix. He's red pill. I don't know what the fuck they say. But essentially, they're like, no, I trust this guy, even though he's just selling me fucking snake oil. Even though he's selling me nothing. I trust him because he's so anti-establishment. And now he's about to be running the Department of Health and Human Services. I don't think that, like, because we talked about this with Hegseth. Like, if Hegseth got through the slimiest of the slimy guys that was remaining here on the fucking docket, like a huge freak and a fucking inexperienced loser, if he's in for the defense secretary shit, all these motherfuckers are just skating away with it. So I'm glad that the Democrats put on a fucking show, that they ran RFK Jr. through his fucking paces, and he had to answer the fucking questions. Sorry, whatever. I'm going to keep being ableist about that shit. I'm fucking sorry. Fuck him, bro. He's a piece of shit. He's in, though. I have no doubt about it. I would be upside down, turned around, if he somehow caught any real friction from like Republicans in a no vote. So, I mean, I'll keep you posted there, but I've already gone longer than I wanted to on this shit. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move along. Let's focus on the big man himself, our God Emperor Donald J. Trump. From the Associated Press. Trump offering federal workers buyouts with about 8 months' pay in effort to shrink government. The Trump administration announced Tuesday that it is offering buyouts to all federal employees who opt to leave their jobs by next week, an unprecedented move to shrink the U.S. government at a breakneck pace. But people are really commenting on, it's not really mentioned in this article, but this is bar for bar the same thing that Elon Musk did at X, the everything app, where essentially he said, hey, I only want the people who are going to work 110%. Like, you're going to work harder than you ever have worked before. There's no pay raise, by the way. You're just going to do that. And if you're not willing to do that, click this button, get the fuck out of here. Done this all in like a fucking email. I believe because he references it over the weekend about like some kind of fork in the road thing. It was like some structure or blah, blah, blah. It really had his dick hard. I don't know if he was involved in building it or making it, but he was just like blah, 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 blah. This was like a really defining moment, and I feel like it's really great symbolism, rah, 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 rah. But essentially, it's the same kind of shit, just regurgitated here in a federal government setting, which is gross and weird. But I mean, hey, whatever. I think at the end of the day, Trump was going to come along with something like this because someone in his administration was going to do something like this. But when you have the guy who literally did this shit thinking like, well, hey, you can just make, more with less, actually. I've done this so many times. And it's like, I mean, cool that it works here because we're talking about a social media thing. Yeah, if you just completely knock off all the fucking hinges where it's like, hey, this keeps order, this keeps like a level of like safety. And I know people don't like the word, it's a dirty word, but like, hey, censorship, making sure people don't say misinformation, don't harass people, don't do evil fucking shit and just get away with it time after time after time after time. Then it's like you can actually just run a skeleton crew of just these little nerds or whatever. I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean here, but little tech guys and gals. And you just run them down, and they just do the work. Essentially, he's trying to do that at a government level. Who do you mean? Musk, Trump? Who the fuck cares at this point? All these motherfucking tech guys, all these motherfucking big money people, all these motherfucking international people with any kind of clout are going to get fingers in Trump's ass one way or another. And Trump's gonna be like, "Hi, like kind of like me. Oh, I'm just loving that you guys are loving me, man. Oh, it's so great." And we're just gonna see where it all kind of lands. It's gonna be like some kind of political chaotic plinko. But yeah, this is a buyout plan. It's bad. It's not good. Usually you get a job like this, you're in this job for I think over a decade, like 12 years at least. That's like the average. So the idea that you're going to have to do some kind of buyout and be paid out through I think September or something, like, okay, cool. But like, what is this? Like, what is the purpose? And it's like, I don't even think that this is necessarily like politically motivated in terms of like him like making sure it's a loyalty thing. I think it's just like we just want to raise the whole thing and like maybe keep the number low for monetary reasons. I don't fucking know. This is one of those we wait and see the results, because I mean this could do more damage, in an economic sense, having to issue this many buyouts to this many employees. It's got people scratching their heads like, what the fuck? What's the motive here? What's the move? Like, where are we benefiting? But we'll see, because once again, and someone like Musthead, that was a win. That was a good power save, economic save that he did with that. Even though Twitter is not profitable, by the way, or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Once again, I just want to riff through these. So let's go ahead and keep it in motion. From CBS News, Trump administration rescinds a federal funding freeze memo after chaos. So they back down here. The White House Office of Management and Budget on Wednesday walked back a memo that ordered a freeze on federal assistance, less than 2 days after the directive led to chaos and confusion around the country as to what programs would be impacted. The latest 2-line memo from Acting Director of Office of Management and Budget, Matthew Vaeth, states that the earlier directive is rescinded. It directs those with questions about implementing President Trump's executive orders to contact the general counsels at their agencies. Now, I think that this was just one of those things where they realized the temperature was just going to be way too hot, and we don't even need to run this down. We have so many other lines in the fucking pool right now, in the lake, whatever fucking water you want to use here. We don't have to. We can just kind of just back off on it. Obviously we like that, but like I talked about in the previous episode, this is all a part of that plan of just running it, like just flooding the zone with so many of these fucking wild ass orders. And sure, a few of them get completely knocked off the board because they're so insane. They're doing too much. Like, because that's the thing. Trump can get these specific things that, like these woke trans things that he hates. He can get rid of them in a tactile, slower way. It's just literally a little bit slower. But essentially, he's like, give me the blanket. Give me the blanket so I can just take it all down and I can, in one fell swoop, tell you guys what to keep and what to fucking cut. I don't want to fucking have to even have any, filter middleman here. I don't want to have to bother with that. Just give me that power. And literally, no, dude, that's insane amount of power for the executive branch to be wielding and getting away with. It's crazy that I have people who are my age or older, or like who are smarter than me. It doesn't even matter the fucking age. And it's like, no, they're down with that. They're okay with that. Like, don't you understand? Like, he's just trying to get rid of that woke shit, dude. Like, just let him cook. It's like, brother, he is trying to take your rights away. Like, you shouldn't be okay with that, even for a fucking flash of a second. Even if you don't think it affects you, because guess what? It definitely can. And it's like, well, and as they got pressured throughout the day, they're like, hey, you guys are like completely like blowing it up. The media is like skewing this. Actually, we're not, fucking with anything that actually is direct to any individuals, They start giving you more information. But it's like the media responds here where it's like, you gave us barely anything and you're not giving us much now as we're actually drilling you on this shit. You're just saying, well, this is actually okay, or we'll get back to you on that later. So once again, people who love Trump are just hopping on the fucking grenade. And once again, I love this era for me because it's like, look, dude, I know people hear me rag on Donald Trump and think that I'm just some dumb fucking doe-eyed liberal. It's like, dude, I didn't like what Biden was doing either. So don't fucking give me that shit. But you should not be okay with your rights getting fucked with by anybody, dude. Like, it's strange that people will just drink the Kool-Aid like that. You know, like, it's wild. Do you think I would have enjoyed the shit that Kamala was gonna be trying to do? No, bro. It would have been the same kind of song and dance that we always do on this podcast. Okay, nothing was gonna change because you should be like that with your politicians. You shouldn't just be like, well, I'm in this camp. Whatever you say, I'm gonna just rock and roll with. No. So it's just frustrating to see people just sip it all down, gargle it. Oh, I love it. It's so gross. So yeah, needless to say, people like that I just get rid of. I'm just like, unfriend. I don't need you. Anyway, we got a couple more things to motor through. From the Hill, Trump orders preparation of Guantanamo Bay facility to house migrants. Bruh, this is a big bruh moment for me. President Trump signed a memo on Wednesday to prepare a massive facility at Guantanamo Bay to be used to house deported migrants. Trump had earlier teased he intended to do so during a signing ceremony for an anti-immigration related bill. I also, speaking of that, there was like the Laken Riley bill or whatever. I didn't feel like talking about that. It's just in the milieu of things that have been approved, throughout Congress and, signed by Trump, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's where we're at. The memo will direct the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security to prepare a 30,000 person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay, a facility in Cuba that has been used to house military prisoners, including several involved in 9/11 attacks. This was supposed to be a facility for terrorists, right? Right? And now we're just saying it's just for the illegals, brother. It's just for these migrants that we don't want. And just the warping of this shit. Once again, why is Guantanamo Bay still a thing? Why is it not gone? Like, I've been asking this shit since fucking Obama, bro. It was like, I've said it before, like, that was my first time where I was like, oh, bro, what? Like, I thought we are changing some shit. Let's change Guantanamo Bay to not Guantanamo Bay. And you know what? Fucking happened? A change candidate did finally come. And he said, I'm going to make Guantanamo Bay just worse. Just worse. I'm going to make it a detention facility. I'm going to make it an ICE Supermax. Ugh, dude. And just segueing through here, I really don't have much to say about it, but yeah, ICE has been doing more raids, throughout cities and shit. Whether it's a liberal city or whether it's a conservative city, they are running it down. They are looking for people, just trying to round them up. So yeah, I mean that. I think that's constant. I do love though the media doing the Lord or the devil's work, depending on how you want to say it. But mentioning the fact, and this is something I've talked about a little bit when it came to Biden, but essentially saying that, like, Trump has always been, this, like, saying the thing out loud. But essentially, they used to call Obama the king of deportation because his numbers were so up for that shit. It's just not something he adamantly put on his fucking badge on and said, yeah, it was just something he used as a defense. But really, he was down to do it. And Biden also had high numbers and tried to increase the numbers, as we got closer to the fucking election. So at the end of the day, all these presidents have this same motif that I've been rallying against throughout my whole fucking time doing this shit. It just is what it is, that this is just the norm, not just in America, but in a lot of fucking countries where it's just like, we don't like you because you don't look like us, even though we know we need you. We know we rely on you. We know that you should be every part of this tapestry that is our culture, that is our place. Like, you share this land with us. Nah, like, you just look so different. And for that reason, we're going to say that you're the problem. When you're not. But, like, we're going to say it and make it only that. So yeah, it's crazy. I think I'm losing my point there, but it's wild where we're at right now and where we're going. This is just the tip of the shit. So anyway, we're gonna close with some, like I said, some Mark Zuckerberg shit, some Trump shit, more kiss the ring, more gobble the knob, if you know what I'm saying. Let's go ahead and take our last break, and we'll close it out. Okay. Ooh. From NBC News. Meta agrees to pay $25 million, $25 million to settle Trump lawsuit over suspended accounts. It's so crazy, man. Because I was listening to, what was it, Chapel Chop House, and one of the dudes like reminded me that it's like at one point Trump was so down that he was begging to get back on Facebook and railing against how fucked up it is that like, oh, I have a little speech and a little, so a fight for freedom or whatever, and you guys are gonna just keep me out of Facebook. And so many, he wasn't on YouTube, nothing. Ah, man, what a time. What a time. And now we are here. Anyway, Meta said Wednesday it would pay $25 million to settle a 4-year-old lawsuit from President Donald Trump over the social media company's decision to suspend Trump's accounts after the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. Meta, the parent company of Instagram and Facebook, filed a notice of the settlement in federal court in San Francisco, where the lawsuit was pending. Meta spokesperson Andy Stone separately confirmed the terms: a $25 million payout from the company, with $22 million going towards a fund for Trump's presidential library, and the balance dedicated to legal fees and other plaintiffs in the case. The settlement does not require Meta to admit wrongdoing. We love a settlement where you don't even have to say sorry. It's fine. Just let it go. Just piss glide on them, baby. I mean, really, this isn't a big deal. It's a donation. And we watched ABC News do this shit last year, which they reference here. ABC said it would pay $15 million to close out a dispute in which Trump alleged the anchor George Stephanopoulos had defamed him. Which really, dude was just saying shit that was happening. And it's like, nah, man, you were so fucked up for that. That was some slanderous shit you were doing. And it's like, oh, okay, we're just going to pay you, dude. The writing's on the fucking wall, bro. Okay, here's some money. Like, and it really just feels like a fucking donation, dude. And it's cringe. But, like, you also see it in the charm offensive that fucking Mark Zuckerberg has been on, And, I mean, he's been kissing the ring. He's been spitting on it, shining it, and doing tricks on it. So, I mean, good for him. He's in the up. I mean, granted, the whole DeepSeek thing, everyone's kind of taking a hit. But like I said in that, where it's like, hey, most likely you're going to see people make it back. Overall, it's going to, in the scheme of things, be a blip on the radar. But I think it does expose the thing of just like, in kind of bringing you back to Mark. It's crazy. He finally took off the fucking Meta goggles and was like, all right, cool. I'm going to fucking lock in. And we're going to get all in on this fucking AI shit. Okay, so now you got Llama. Awesome. But once again, you're all in on a whole other thing. You haven't diversified you haven't diversified Facebook. You haven't diversified Instagram. Haven't made another real social network. I mean, Threads, I guess, is like a top 3 app, I think I heard. Maybe I'm wrong there, whatever. But I mean, I go on Threads every once in a while. It's I gotta say it. And this is personal opinion, but I go on Threads way more than I go on Blue Sky. And every time I go on Blue Sky, I'm always eye rolling. At least with Threads, I get what the algorithm knows I want. And I'm not going to speak on it. I won't squeak to it, but it's there. And, and that's cool. So that's nice. And overall, you get just little fun things to kind of repost. And because I am a fucking relic and I'm on Facebook, I can just tether my Threads to my Facebook and all my posts just double up. And that's nice. So there's just little creature comforts in that regard, where it's like, this is pretty much just like Twitter. And that's nice for me. It feels good for me because I like those apps. I'm a piece of shit. I'm never leaving. But I just don't think that in the long run, I mean, yes, Zuckerberg's going to win. He's going to be making his money. But he's just not the genius, dude. He's not it. He's always going to be the Jesse Eisenberg loser-ass character from fucking Social Network. I just don't think he'll ever strike fire again, and I'm sure that's something that haunts his ass. It doesn't matter how he changes his hair, no matter the little rinky-dink chains, how many fucking, abs he can fucking form up and do his little MMA and shit, and then just, beg the dude to give him wins, a referee, awesome, but, At the end of the day, he's not going to hit it again. He's not going to be the guy who actually is this genius that people at one point were touting him to be. I think everyone kind of realizes he's just like a tech guy here to make his shit. But he's still getting on Rogan and shit. Anyway, we'll close it out there. I know I found a way to go long, like I will often do. Oh, actually, no, I didn't do too bad. I didn't do too bad. Looking at the time now, I think I did all right. Anyway, that's where I'll leave it. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do it with Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Get your shout outs. It's coming up soon. Yeah. Free ways to hit me up, though, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me on any of the socials. I mentioned a few and more. But just, you clickety-clack, you can either find me or the pod and, say what's up, by all means. Let's see. Please hit the likes, hit the subscriptions on the YouTube. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. And thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.